This is the BLUETTI Elite 30V2, and the reason it grabbed my attention is simple. It charges absurdly fast, and it stays quiet while actually doing useful work. This fits squarely into the ultra-portable power station category, the kind of unit you grab for a day trip, a quick campsite, or to keep your home internet alive during an outage. If you need to run an RV air conditioner or a full-size fridge through the night, this isn't it. If you want something light that handles laptops, cameras, networking gear, and the occasional small appliance without turning your room into a wind tunnel, this is right in the pocket. Design matters with gear you move around often. The Elite 30V2 is compact and genuinely easy to carry at about 9.5 pounds. The handle folds flush, so it doesn't snag on backpacks or the trunk liner, and the shape packs well next to other gear. I've been using the Glacier Blue color, which looks more consumer tech than garage tool, so I don't mind leaving it out in the living room. The plastics feel sturdy, and the casing doesn't flex when I pick it up by one side. Port placement is practical. AC on one area, DC and USB up front where I can see what's on. The only design gripe is the screen. Indoors it's fine. Outside in bright sun it's hard to read, and reflections don't help. I end up using the app whenever I'm checking it on a picnic table or at the beach. Setup is what you want from a modern power station. Plug in, tap a button, and it works. Pairing with the BLUETTI app was quick over Bluetooth. Then I put it on Wi-Fi to check in from another room. The app is more than a dashboard. It lets me switch charging modes and toggle eco settings without walking over. The unit shipped partially charged, and on wall power, the fast charge mode took it from near empty to about 80% in roughly 45 minutes, with a full top-off around the hour-plus mark. That speed changes how I use it. I don't need to plan a full afternoon around charging. I can plug in while I pack, and it's ready before I head out. Noise is a non-issue most of the time. Even in turbo, the fan isn't loud, and in silent mode, I've charged it overnight in a bedroom without it becoming a white noise machine. Under the hood, it's built around Leaf FPO4 cells. And that chemistry is one of the reasons I've grown to trust it for daily tasks. It handles lots of cycles well, and it's more stable than older lithium mixes. That matters when you're cycling it often for work gear or using it as a UPS. Real-world output is where it surprised me the most. The AC inverter is rated at 600 watts continuous, but the powerlifting mode lets it run resistive appliances labeled well above that. I've used a small 800-watt travel kettle and a basic toaster. It doesn't run them at full speed. It effectively keeps the wattage in check, so the inverter doesn't trip, which means water takes longer to boil and toast takes longer to brown. For me, it's a useful emergency option, not a daily kettle replacement. The AC is a clean sine wave, so my audio interface and desktop PC haven't complained. The USB-C experience is strong. The high-power port will fast charge my 16-inch MacBook Pro at full speed, and with that single cable, I can ditch the brick. I've had two laptops charging at once, one on the 140-watt USB-C and another on the secondary C port, and the unit stayed cool and stable. Through DC and USB, efficiency is better than running the same loads over AC, so I reach for those first. For low-draw gear, there's a quirk. The screen sometimes shows 0 watts, even though a tiny LED lamp or a Wi-Fi camera is clearly powered. The device is working. The display just doesn't register really small loads. It's a minor annoyance when I'm trying to estimate runtime without opening the app. I measured runtimes the way I actually use this stuff. My modem and router together pull around 15 watts. In UPS mode, the Elite 30V2 switched over so quickly during a test cut that nothing rebooted. At that load, I get through a long outage window comfortably. Think the better part of a day, depending on how much network traffic I'm pushing, and whether I'm also topping up a phone. With a 12-volt heated blanket on low during a chilly camp night, I saw roughly 4 to 5 hours before I needed to dial back or switch to a warmer layer. Drone batteries are a good match here. I charged 3 packs and a mirrorless camera battery over DC and USB, and still had juice for phones. A portable fridge was less satisfying. It ran, but with that compressor cycling, the 288 watt-hours go faster than you'd like, unless you're in very mild weather or you add solar. Speaking of solar, my unit didn't include a solar cable. I grabbed one separately and paired it with a 200-watt folding panel. Midday, clear skies, I was seeing around 160 to 170 watts coming in, and I could get from low to full in a few hours. It's not a giant off-grid setup, but for a campsite or a tailgate, it's enough to keep the cycle going if the sun cooperates. I've also charged from a car while driving between locations. It's slower than wall power, obviously, but practical on a road trip. There are a couple of small touches that make it easy to live with. Eco mode automatically turns off the AC inverter after a period of inactivity, which saves the battery from slow self-drain. The unit sips power in standby impressively well, so leaving it on a shelf for a week doesn't punish you. The app lets me choose between turbo, standard, and silent charging. Standard is the one I use most at home. It balances noise and battery care, while turbo is great when I'm rushing out the door. Firmware updates through the app have been uneventful and did improve Wi-Fi stability for me. As a UPS, the switchover is fast enough that desktop workloads stay intact. Bypass mode means my gear uses wall power most of the time without cycling the battery unnecessarily, which I prefer for longevity. It isn't perfect. The display is hard to see outdoors, and I wish it reported very low wattage more accurately. There's no wireless charging pad on top, which I've come to like on some rivals for dumping a phone quickly. Capacity is the obvious constraint. You can empty it quickly on hungry appliances. Expansion isn't plug and play with an add-on battery the way some larger systems are, so you're buying this knowing it's a self-contained unit. And while the port selection is excellent for the size, the AC outlets sit close enough that very chunky plugs can crowd each other. One standout use case for me is a mobile work kit. I've been shooting and editing in parks and cafes, and this box turns a picnic table into a reliable workstation. The 140-watt USB-C keeps the laptop at full tilt while I ingest footage. The second USB-C tops up a tablet running reference material, and the DC port keeps a small LED panel lit. I can run that setup for a few hours, dump footage to the RAID at home, and then top the station back up in just over an hour while I'm prepping the next day's gear. When I'm not traveling, it lives behind my router as a UPS, and that dual life makes it feel more useful than a just-for-camping gadget. Core performance is steady rather than flashy, and that's what I want. The AC output doesn't oscillate under load. The fan ramps up smoothly instead of spinning up and down in an annoying pattern. Under USB-C heavy draw, the chassis stays cool to the touch, and the reported wattage in the app aligns with what my inline meter shows within a sensible margin. Charging behavior is predictable, fast to 80%, then a more measured top-off. In winter, the unit correctly refuses to charge when the cells are too cold. Once it warmed past freezing in the trunk, it allowed charging again. That kind of guardrail is what I expect from a decent battery management system. After a few weeks of real use, my impression is that this is a thoughtfully executed small power station. It's not chasing headline numbers it can't sustain. It's chasing the stuff that matters when you depend on a box like this. Quiet operation, fast recovery on a wall outlet, a USB-C port that actually replaces a laptop brick, and a UPS mode you can trust with your connection or a desktop machine. If your needs sit in that lane, day trips, photography runs, remote work, short outages, this is the one I'd reach for. If you're trying to keep heavy appliances going for hours, you'll want to step up in size or plan on solar and a second battery altogether. This is the kind of gear that slips into everyday life. It's small enough to live next to your desk, light enough for a spur-of-the-moment drive, and capable enough to keep your essentials running without fuss. I can nitpick the screen and the missing wireless pad, but those don't outweigh the quiet confidence of how it performs. I will update specific information about the BLUETTI Elite 30 V2 portable power station in the comments. Don't forget to catch my next video.